Thanks for reading, Etty, and to you and Saz, thanks as well for all the fantastic graphics work that you do for us. If you've seen our new programme card or read the weekly email, you'll know we're starting this new series tonight with the title Jesus on Men and Women. We'd been planning this anyway, but the church survey underlined that many of you wanted us to cover things like marriage, singleness, gender, sexuality, and so on. So as we thought about it, we could have chosen 4 topical titles, like number 1, transgender, and how do we respond, and so on. I think that is usually better done in a different context, like a seminar. And so that is on our planning agenda as well. Instead, in our services, we're going to look at Jesus' fullest teaching on this area, so that Jesus sets the agenda, which I personally always feel most comfortable about. So this series won't cover everything. What it covers won't be covered fully enough, but it will lay out, I think, the foundational things that Jesus says on which we can build our thinking about areas he doesn't explicitly talk about. I've written a summary of the series in the last weekly email, and one thing I said, and I really want to underline, is that although this part of Jesus' teaching was prompted by a question about divorce, that's not what the passage is all about, and it's not what this series is all about. I realise there are lots of people here who have been affected by divorce in one way or another. My family has as well. And I realise that some of us may choose not to come to some or even all of this because we just don't want things re-raised at the moment. And I understand that. But to help you choose and know where we're going, let me just say it's week 3 where we will specifically look at what Jesus says about divorce and remarriage. Tonight, we'll see what he says about understanding ourselves as created, male and female, but also fallen. Next week, we'll unpack his teaching on marriage, God's design for it and why it's unique. Week 3, we will look at what he says about the sadness of divorce and the question of remarriage. And week 4, we'll see what he says to those of us who are single, which our church survey says is 40% of the church family over 18, so a lot higher percentage in this gathering. Now, in the survey, lots of you also said we really need help with talking about this stuff in our workplaces to our friends and so on and so forth, because if we're Christians, we know the Bible's vision for this area of our lives is suddenly now seen not just as outdated and odd, but as unloving and even dangerous. And I just want to do a bit of expectation management on that. As I've already said, I can't cover everything. Jesus is going to set the agenda of what he knows we need to hear. My primary aim is to apply this to me and you in living it out, not so much to me and you in defending it, although it should go some way to help with that. In the next 3 of the series, we're going to have a slot like this, but after the sermon, by someone else, giving some idea of how we can actually talk about this stuff with people around us. Each week we're offering a question and discussion time for any who would like that. Let's say 10 minutes after the end of the service, so you've got time to go and get a drink from the back. That's going to be, I've no idea how, you don't have to be interested in that. I've no idea how many people that may serve. But I've chosen, we'll go in the choir vestry, that's through the door to your front left, and turn right. We'll use Slido on phones for asking questions, so you can be anonymous if you prefer, or you can just ask them face to face. We'll have a few different faces there with me each week, and I hope that'll be informal and relaxed. The last thing to say is, I know this area is a big one for all of us personally, so I will be doing my best to tread very carefully, but as you know, my best is not perfect. So if you think that I've been clumsy or unclear or whatever, please come and talk or drop me an email, ian.garrett@church.org.uk. Please don't go through the website because half of those end up in junk for reasons I do not understand. So ian.garrett@church.org.uk. Or if you want to feed in a thought or a question about the coming 3 sermons. And if this series raises things for you that it would be good to talk about with someone, can I encourage you to find that someone? and talk. Someone that you feel will be good at listening to you and being a help to you. If that is any of us on the staff, then please grab us. But it may well be someone who knows you better, who you already talk with, maybe who you already pray with as well. And on that note, I have been and will be praying for you week by week as we hear and process what Jesus says. And I want to ask you to return the compliment, because there is so much truth in that old saying that you get the ministry you pray for. So let's sing again, and we're going to remind ourselves, as we'll hear from Jesus tonight, that we are created, fallen, and if we're trusting in him, we're being recreated. Let's stand and sing.